So, this is taking us back to Mac OS 9, and it's about 1997, 98. See those extensions loading? Mac OS X used to crash all the time. And here's my Spinalot server booting up. You can see there's the Spinalot app, and there's the server, Mac HTTP it was. And how did this work? Well, basically, you could use Netscape still, but Microsoft had brought out Internet Explorer, and it was a bit nicer to look at and faster at the time. And so here we go. Where are we logging into? I'm not quite sure. We're on Spinalot. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, see, you hear that noise? It made a noise so we could tell when people were logging in. So here we are. This is the Spinalot site. This is the home. But this is like a site that if people downloaded the software, this was an empty site, if you like. And the main thing it was made up of was pages, discussions, and news, and people, of course, because it was made for building online learning communities. But as we can see down the bottom of this page, every item in Spinalot showed who could edit it, who could see it when it was last edited, and where it was. But everything could also have a keyword, and these keywords were sort of tags that just tied things together and built into searches. So if we go to the news page, you can let's have a look round. Let's maybe put some stuff in. You can see it's really really fast. So you can see here, wherever you went and you could create something, a little stars appeared and you could create an article. So let's see if that still works. Here we go. The world is very different now. Blimey, in so many ways. Things that have happened since 22 years ago, like Facebook. Save that, boom. So we're adding an article to the newspaper. You can see at the top left there's a passport, and that was our notion of a profile. And we almost at the last minute we added this idea of putting a postie, like a post-it note on somebody's passport, like short messages. There we go. There's my first article, yeah. So let's maybe look at. I wonder if we go here. This is like a file structure. The adding posties to somebody's passport was like a short message, and that quickly proved to be the most popular way of using the site. People just the kids and adults just use that for messaging each other. If I go to the folders, you can see there was like a file browser, and what can I do here? Oh, I can make a new discussion, which I could do on the discussion page as well, or I could create a new bookmark. Let's create a new whoa, didn't know I could click there. Let's create a new what I'm doing. Oh yeah, it's just a general, what do you want to create? Oh, I can create a brainstorm, or a chat room, or what's this? A calendar event. These are all the different types of. Let's just create a. Should we create a page first? Yeah, let's create a page. So a page is probably one of the simplest objects. My lovely. Can't spell it. Can't see it. Things were tiny then. Oh, my eyes were better. This is my page about some stuff. Let's put some more of that in. So, whoops. No, I didn't. I didn't go in. This is my page about stuff. So, let's see if we can copy this. Paste that in a few times. So we can decide here who can see this, and these are the groups of which I'm a member, and that everybody could create groups as well. So, and then what's this here? This is oh, I've got some different templates here. I didn't. I think the ones with exclamation mark are there because I can. Let's try a different one. Didn't know I did that. The exclamation mark ones for the admins, so that you could make special objects like newspapers or bulletin board homes. So I'm creating a page, and every item pretty much in Spinalot you could comment on, or you could keyword. So it was a way of once you've built some resources, of quickly tying them together and not having to sort of put them anywhere. Also, there's my lovely centered page. Look at the design of that, isn't it great? Yeah, what else could, when I did the create, I want to go back to here and find that. Oh, I can add references. I forgot about that. Yeah, I can. So if I click create again, one of the things that I'd be really surprised if this doesn't crash it, is when I added a bookmark to another site. Look at that chat room with little chattery teeth in a house. I know I can't remember what a brainstorm is. I'm getting messages in the background. So if I added a let's say I wanted to make an Apple HTTP, probably yes, isn't it? Apple.com. Sometimes we used to set it up so that it would go to that website and take a picture of that website and give it a visual bookmark so you could remember what it looked like. Now, oh, hang on a minute. There's things happening in the background that, can you see there at the top right? There's oh no, maybe it's just complaining about memory probably. So I want to explore further and find out what else I could create. So I could create a discussion. Let's do that. And I think a discussion was just a simple text discussion where it would what is the weather where you are? Is it chilly? So this is my start of discussion, and it would then obviously create that with a text area below it, I think. Let's find out. Yeah, here we are. Yes, but sunny. And you can see that everything in here is always attributed to you, so there's no kind of anonymity. So I can add. I'm going to try adding an image. Surely that won't work. It'll probably crash here. Let's find out. To be able to add images, friend called Chris had to write me a plugin. In fact, he had to write a plugin that only worked on WebStar, which was a much more expensive. You see there, Spinalot SPLD, a much more expensive web server that you had to pay for hundreds of pounds, I think. So when you'd created anything, like a discussion or a page or a chat room, you could add references to automatically link internal pages together. You could choose which thing you wanted to link to, which allowed you to create trails or followable, go next type guides through the information, and you could add keywords to the information. Let's find out how this works. Also, there's one keyword in there called create, or I can add a keyword here called weather. And you could have like a one-to-many relationship so that things could have more than one keyword. And then those keywords would have a page in which everybody could find things. So if we set the keywords, I think we're done there. Could have been a slightly better interface, but I was still learning. Still am. And there. So now, can you see this keyword here down the bottom of this object? I can then go and look at that keyword, and it's taken me just to here. That's because there's just one, actually. If there was more, it would list them. Yeah, so let's have a look in discussions. I can't remember all the other features that seem to sort of pop up as you travel around. Oh, the talk bit. Oh, that's probably like the discussion homepage. Yeah, but I think that's almost everything. I can. I have a profile. People can message each other. We can create discussions. We can create all these other objects. Let's remind myself. So I can create an event and a brainstorm. I think a brainstorm and the chat room would just like, let's try, would just like discussions, but I think they may be refreshed a bit more aggressively. So let's find out. It's got a nice icon. It's got a brain icon. Let's find out what this does. Who knows? Let's save this, everybody can see it. Add a brain drop to the storm. Well, it's got a different look and feel, slightly. Okay. Let's do that. I think this is maybe just, this is just an example of a different type. Yeah, this is an example object that shows you just alter the template called banner, and which contains the background color and the text color, and maybe a listing template. Well, I can't remember. Let's see. Oh, and I think it puts them on a grid. That was it. Oh no! Oh look, like a Comic Sans font, or a spooky one. Let's try again. Yeah, we had lots of different discussion types where perhaps people weren't attributed, so they could do anonymously, or you commented it on an ever-growing grid. So you started in the center and moved your way out. Yeah, it's all coming back now. And we also had video comments that again required plugins, but you could. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm see. We're starting to get a table building up. And so and they're in different fonts. Yeah, wow, I'd forgotten this. But with the you would upload, you would record a movie of yourself talking and then upload that as a media file, and so there'd be almost like a grid of Zoom-looking videos, but all working asynchronously, if you like, so that you wouldn't. But there was a button to automatically open a recording. Yeah, I remember. If you configured your browser properly, an application would open, you would record your message, and then that would be sent to the server, and it would upload and then be displayed in like a Zoom layout of movies that you could play. But you can see how fast things were struggling now for speed, and movies were deemed ridiculous when it came to file size, being sort of 10 megabytes or something. So it kind of only worked if you were on an academic network. We've got screenshots of those working somewhere. But yeah, but apart from the other sites made with Spinalot, that's about all of its features. Which it had all the features of Facebook, but it also had a flexible development environment that meant you could turn it into you could make it work the way you wanted it to work and have the metaphors that you wanted it to have, and have the features and the privacies that you wanted. And so lots of sites ended up looking much better than this, and working very differently. Yeah, wow, so many memories. Well, there you go. So another part of the Spinalot tool was this template editor, which the idea was that because templates could be easily editable, you could not only alter the way they looked, but by creating a folder that might have a certain name, you could create a whole new object and then alter all the behaviors in it with the templates. So, for example, there was like a shared folder that all templates could inherit from, and these are essentially object-oriented templates. So if we look in, let's have a look at a default template for a comment. Oh, so they have an object definition so let's have a look at an object definition. There you go. So essentially there you have lines. This is bringing back memories, where you define. It's essentially like forms in Django, where you're defining the object types. It's a string and how big you want the form to be when it's edited, because some things obviously need a different interface. And so let's have a look at a template. Default template. Here we go. So here, my tags were, it's starting with question mark and funny brackets. So you can see comment on parent's name. That was, based on the folder structure where it was. And then we've got some HTML here. And now one of the crazy things that I did was you could put tags within tags. And also you could lob, so you can see here a U has been built in by saying there's a command there called CGI, and it knows what it is. And there's parent tag. So it's building a URL to itself. But you might sort of think, well, how do I know which tags to use? And so the idea was to try and make an editor where all the tags were documented and available in the editor. So if I wanted an edit prompt or a has the author changed, or these are all the commands that you could use. And you could make your own. I think, could you make your own commands? Maybe not. I can't remember. Integer to day end, integer to start. So that was useful for working with dates. And what else have we got? Personal portfolio and random number. That was a handy one. So with all of these, you could then make, let's see, reference to. No, it doesn't have any documentation. That's the idea. The idea is you can find out what these do and make your. Oh, there you go. Yeah, input. So round down, input, value, and precision. So you could make. There was a default set of templates that you would kind of overshadow with the ones that you want to change. So you might just change the one called banner or branding or something, and then build up your own functionality like that. Yeah. Wow, that's bringing back memories. Spinalot went on to run lots of projects at Ultralab, like Not School, where kids were given a computer with a webcam and were taught online. Crazy things, to play trumpets and make all sorts of things. It was made into lots of different websites. Oh, here's an example of the visual bookmarks. Oh, that's deep in there. The different designs. TeacherNet, I think, was one. But ultimately, it went on to become ThinkQuest, an Oracle education project. Here's some examples. That at the time was the biggest educational site in the world. Every adult and child was kind of verified on there. You can see there all the work that's going on. All the same sorts of things were there. That you can see here the Harvey Milk School, talent competitions, and the frogs of Costa Rica, all sorts of geometry, history of the world, and this was a really popular educational site, but of course wasn't open or visible to the world. Yeah, all of the work of Spinalot was what fed and was improved on in the think.com site. Yeah, trip down memory lane. There we go. So looking round an old computer really brings back memories. What have we got? QuickTime, of course. No idea what Apple FM radio was. Cyberdog. Remember Cyberdog? That was kind of a internet component thing that kind of was part of OpenDoc. Such a big thing for Apple that just disappeared eventually. And then in more applications, we've got sort of utilities like Clip to GIF, HyperCard, of course. Oh, iCab browser. Anyway, go on, remember that. Interarchy, a great FTP client that you could get things from here to there. But Prograph. Prograph was the tool that I wrote Spinalot in. And just to show you how cool Prograph was, this is how you coded in Prograph. You create a method, or rather, here's my thing, and I'm going to create a method in here. So let's say I wanted to make a function called do something. And what was this going to do? Well, this was going to add two numbers together, let's say. Let's see that. And maybe it's going to do something a bit more complicated than that, like it might times the two numbers coming in by 2 times, there we go. And that should have two little. So I'm creating so inputs here. Why can't I create one there? There we go. Oh, get rid of that. So I can then join these up. So don't want that. So let's put another one there. So let's say the first number I times by itself, and I can join that, whoops, I can join that up to here, and the second number I add to itself. Don't know why I want to do this, but kind of you get the idea. So this is my code. So the number's going to come in the top and then work its way down to here, and then down here I might I don't want a universal there. I want to show, and you see every time I use a command that it knows about, it shows me what the input's there. So this is my code. Obviously I need to call that code, so let's make another method. Don't know, call it run or something, and so there we go. So now that should know that it's got two inputs there and come up, but why is that not working? But let's imagine I want to pass in two numbers here. Let's say 3 and 4. And we can now run this code. Boom, 22. Okay, take it. But one of the really interesting things about Prograph, apart from being object oriented and apart from having almost like an inbuilt persistent database, I could put a breakpoint in here, and then when this is one of the greatest things. You can make some code like that, and then it kind of scrunch it down, so it becomes you're then working on this bit, and that's like a little black box that now does that thing. But now let's execute this method, and here we are in the debugger, and we can look around at these points and say, okay, well that's 22 there, but what was it here? Oh, it was 16 there, so the number that came in here was 4. So if we were to look at that number and say, well, what happens if we put a 5 in? The code then backs up to there, and we can continue running the code, and we get back down to here, and we've got a different number being output here, 31. So you would write code, and before it even finished running, be editing the code, and then there we go. The code has now got to there. There's the bottom. It means the code is finished. Boom, and there we are. And then once we've made our, if you like, we might design some classes in here, which might be things, a class might be something, let's say a web page. And web pages have attributes like name and maybe text, but they also have methods, so you might have one, show. And then if you wanted a different type of web page, like we did in Spinalot, I would option command click to create a discussion that's subclassed from the web page, and you can see that it's already got those attributes, but we could sort of have methods that loaded templates slightly differently. And when we'd sort of made our code and made it work, we would then be able to, and I've forgotten how to do this. At this point, we need to add some application code, compile that into code that would run as fast as C, which in those days was blinding. So what was marvelous was you had a really easy to edit, easy to run, easy to test tool that when it was finished was fast, which I say fast, faster than anything else at the time, because the kind of other way of writing a CGI that worked with a web server in those days was kind of Perl or AppleScript, and neither of those were fun to work with. Yeah, so wow. Wow, I loved Prograph. I still do. It's still the best thing that ever was. Visual programming done right.